All right, let's take a look at kinetic energy here. So kinetic energy is dependent on the mass and the speed squared. All right, so with that relationship comes some interesting kind of dynamics. If I were to double the speed, what does that do to my kinetic energy? Well, if I think about what algebra says, if I do one thing to one side, I got to do it to the other side. So how much did I essentially multiply the right side of the equation by if I put a 2 next to that v? Well, this v is a squared term, so I essentially multiplied this side by 2 squared, or 4. So by doubling your speed, you quadruple your kinetic energy. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to try an example here, and we're going to see if we can get this figured out. So it says a racing dog is initially running at 10 meters per second, but it's slowing down. How fast is the dog moving when its kinetic energy has been reduced by 1/2? Now, they don't give me the mass of this dog, so I can't actually calculate how much kinetic energy it starts with, and then take half of that and then calculate using that mass its final speed. So I have to kind of make a ratio for this one. So I want half the kinetic energy. So what portion of the velocity are they going to be going at when it's half the kinetic energy? And so I got to think back here. 4 times the kinetic energy was twice the velocity, or 2 squared. So I have to come up with something squared is equal to 1/2. And so that means it's going to be 1 over the square root of 2 times the velocity. And so 10 divided by the square root of 2 gives me a new velocity of 1 divided by the square root of 2 times 10 will give me a new speed of only, what was it, 7? If I want to say it, yep, 7.07 meters per second. So they don't slow down half to get half the kinetic energy because of that squared term. So they only have to slow down about 3 meters per second, and they'll be half the kinetic energy. Part B says, by what fraction has its kinetic energy been reduced when its speed has been reduced by 1/2? So if it's going half as fast, what happens to the kinetic energy? Well, 1/2 squared is 1/4. So it'll have 1/4 the kinetic energy when it's reduced its speed by 1/2.